Following 3 days of consecutive pain for shareholders, many are wondering whether the stock is indeed about to get delisted or whether we're going to be saved by some sort of short squeeze play. Hi again, everyone. I hope you're all doing really well, and I hope you're all having a great weekend. Now, following on from the comment that was made in one of my videos earlier about what my thoughts were around any potential short squeeze with MULN Automotive, had you asked me on Friday that question, I would actually say fundamentally the stock was actually in a better position for a short squeeze. Because going into Friday, the short interest was around 20% in the stock. However, following the sell-off on Friday, the short interest in MULN Automotive has actually dropped off, according to Fintel, which is the main source I use, down to 7.96%. So that actually means the stock's technically not highly shorted, because anything under 10% is just considered like a sort of normal range for shorts in any sort of given stock. It's not small, don't get me wrong, but it's not actually high like it was previously. So there's actually been a bit of if there was to be some pressure applied to shorts come Monday or Tuesday, there might not actually be that much actual buying action as shorts trying to return their positions. So I think there is a bit of like heat taken away from shorts. I think many of them had looked at how far the stock had fallen over those last couple of sessions and sort of said, hang on, we've actually driven the stock down quite a bit. We know fundamentally that there is, more value to the stock than what it's currently trading at. So maybe it might be a good time to pull off on the brakes a bit. So I actually think the shorts are actually relenting a little bit on the play. So, in saying that, that makes me think that we might actually get to see a little bit of a bounce for MULN Automotive come Monday. I could be totally wrong here, but just based on the fact that the shorts interest has faded away, we might actually see a bit of a return in the stock value. So, on the topic of an actual short squeeze, I still don't think it's quite there. Like, even though MULN Automotive has a buyback in action, and done the reverse stock split, and we're doing our utmost best to remain listed on the Nasdaq, generally the broader sentiment in MULN Automotive is not there. It's lacking. Had this been a year or two ago, there might have been enough sort of retail interest to even arouse some institutions to even try and push a bit of a short squeeze play. But generally, those sort of plays are not as popular as they used to be, say 2 years ago. And, we're in a very different economic time where people are, being a bit more careful with how they use their money. And I think risking it on a short squeeze play is not something that people are willing to do with MULN Automotive. I think we're just starting to see people tire of the stock. So in that sense, I don't think we are going to see a short squeeze play. Now, on to the other topic on whether or not we get delisted or not. I've sort of said this for a while. I don't think we're immediately going to get delisted. Even, I know technically at the moment, MULN actually can still qualify for 10 consecutive days of being above $1 come September 6th. I think it's something like 12 trading days there. So they've got kind of 1 or 2 days to work the stock back up above $1 and, hopefully keep it there. Whether or not that happens or not is really hard to say. We've utilized something like 12% of the stock buybacks total money, and plus we've had some big buying action from insiders, particularly David Mitchery lately, and it hasn't really done much to keep the stock price up. So whether or not the stock can get back to above $1 and stay there before September 6th is a really hard call to make. Now, in the event that it doesn't, I'm still of the opinion that we aren't facing an immediate delisting. I think really what's going to happen is there will be a delisting notice, and MULN Automotive will have the ability to appeal that, and in that meantime still be able to work at trying to get their stock price back above $1. Now, what that might mean is, unfortunately, perhaps another reverse stock split. That could be on the cards. I hate to say it, but yeah, that's to be honest, a reverse stock split is probably actually a better option than what they're doing now with the $25 million stock buyback, because I look at that as an attempt to try and restore value in the stock as just a waste of shareholder money. Shareholders have hurt big time just to raise that capital, and the board's using it to buy back stock. Stock buybacks are usually undertaken when companies are making money, they're profitable. It's a way of returning money to shareholders. They're not done from a pre-revenue standpoint to try and return value, because that's just not what they're for. This is purely a play to save, the skins of, those of the board who, you know, have kind of been sort of responsible for the nosedive the stock's taken over the years. Like, if you look at the stock price now, we're trading at 64 cents. Pre-split, that's the equivalent of 7 cents per share. So it's, you know, it's peanuts. And if you go back to the previous stock split and put it in the value, the sense of that value, we're looking at below 1 cent per share at the moment. Okay, so MULN Automotive has, you know, eviscerated shareholder value. They've raised heaps of money, and now they're using that money to try and manipulate the stock to try and stay listed. It's not a good look. So my thoughts are, I don't think we're going to get a short squeeze, and at the same time, I don't think we're going to get a you know, some sort of immediate delisting. It'll be a more drawn out process than this. If MULN Automotive does get actually delisted from the Nasdaq, they do trade in over-the-counter mode. That's, you know, a bit of a, you know, that's a scary place to be. But, you know, there are actually other options that MULN Automotive could potentially pursue. They could actually look at trying to get their stock moved to another exchange, perhaps one that isn't as subjected to, I guess, you know, high levels of short selling. Like, you know, I think only, it seems to be like particularly the Nasdaq in the US, which is really prone to short selling. If you go to like a lot of other international exchanges, at least anyway, the ones that I'm familiar with, short selling is not a huge deal. In Australia, ASX, you know, there's not many stocks which would be considered highly short as having over 10%. If any, like, you know, I haven't looked for a little while, but I know, like, it was, you know, you'd find a couple of stocks that have like 7 or 8%, and that was like as high as it got. So it's kind of definitely a stronger element in the US markets than it is in other countries. So, you know, there are ways that like MULN could actually move their listing to another exchange. I know they're all about being a pro-US company, but, you know, that might be a solution, a workaround. Ultimately, if they let the stock price keep dropping to, you know, even lower, the remaining amount of that stock buyback could actually would be enough to buy up the remaining float of the stock. Not that everyone's selling, but that's actually the reality. They could actually almost take the company private in a sense, but that wouldn't be the solution at this stage anyway. Anyway, just a couple of thoughts. I'd love to hear what you guys all think about what's going on with MULN Automotive. Do you think we are going to see a squeeze? I don't think we are. I think we might see a bit of a rally because I think the shorts have eased off a little bit at the moment, but I don't think it's going to be a proper short squeeze rally. And what do you think about the delisting? Like I said before, I don't think we're actually immediately going to get delisted, even if we can't make the 10 days by September 6th. It'll be a more drawn out process, but if you've got other thoughts, share them in the comments. Always love to hear from you guys. Till next time, everyone, have a great weekend, and may the markets trade in your favor. Cheers.